So, when we talk about marketing, you've probably heard of the 4 Ps, right? Product, price, promotion, and place. Now, we all love talking about cool new products and catchy ads, but today we're going to focus on the quiet, unsung hero of that group, place. And believe me, this isn't just about where a store is located. It's the whole invisible network that gets a product from an idea all the way into your hands. So, let's get into it and see how it really works. I mean, seriously, think about it for a second. You see a new jacket style pop up online, and then boom, just days later, it's hanging in your local Zara or it's on your doorstep. How on earth do they do that? Well, it's not magic. It's an absolutely brilliant, super fast distribution strategy. Zara's whole business is basically a masterclass in why getting place right can make you a giant in your industry. Okay, so here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really digging into what we mean by place. Then we'll map out the product's journey, from the factory floor to your shopping cart. After that, we'll get into some key strategic choices, direct or indirect. We'll also unpack the omni-channel revolution, which is huge right now. And finally, we'll take a peek into the future and see how tech is changing everything. All right, first up, the overlooked P. The subtitle here says it all. It's about getting the product to the right place at the right time. Because think about it, if you can't connect your awesome product with the people who want to buy it, nothing else matters. You can't have that exchange of value. It's the critical link that makes the whole machine work. The biggest thing I want you to take away here is that place is so much more than just a pin on a map. You should think of it more like a giant, complex river system. It includes every partner, every warehouse, every delivery truck, and even the software that coordinates it all. It's this dynamic flow that gets value from the producer to you. So, how do we actually visualize this journey? Well, for a long time, we pictured it as a simple, straight line, a chain. But as you're about to see, the world today is way more interconnected, and it looks a lot more like a complex web. And the term you hear all the time is, of course, the supply chain. This is the classic textbook definition. It covers the whole shebang, all the people, the organizations, the information, and the resources that are involved in moving something from a supplier all the way to a customer. It's really the backbone of how physical stuff moves around the world. And yep, this picture right here, this is that traditional view perfectly laid out. You can see that clean, step-by-step flow. It goes from suppliers to the factory, then through distribution, and finally it lands with the customer. It's a nice, simple, linear model that's pretty easy to get your head around. But here's the twist. That simple chain idea is getting a little, outdated. In today's world, it's way more accurate to think of all this as a value web. It's not a straight line anymore. It's a dynamic network where information and products are flowing in all sorts of directions between all the different players. So who are the key players in this web? Well, first, you've got the manufacturer, the ones who actually make the product. Then you often have wholesalers who buy in huge quantities and then sell to retailers. The retailers are the ones we all know. They're the final stop before it gets to us. And sometimes you have agents or brokers in the mix who are like matchmakers, helping to make the deals happen. Each one has a really specific job to do. Now, this brings us to a huge, fundamental decision that every single company has to make. How are we going to connect with our customers? Are we going to go straight to them? Are we going to use partners to help us out? Or maybe some kind of mix of both? And this diagram, I think, does a great job of showing what those choices look like. On the left, for consumer products, you see that zero-level channel. That's just a fancy term for selling direct to consumer, like when you buy from a brand's website. But as you start adding in partners, like a retailer or a wholesaler, the channel gets longer. The same basic idea applies to the business-to-business channels you see on the right. So what's the better choice? Well, it's a classic trade-off, isn't it? If you go direct, you have total control over the experience. You keep more of the profit, and you get to build that relationship with your customer. But it's expensive and hard to build that from nothing. On the other hand, if you go indirect, you can tap into a huge market almost overnight by using the networks your partners have already built. And this all leads us perfectly into the biggest idea in distribution strategy today, the omni-channel revolution. This isn't just about being in a bunch of different places. It's about making all those places feel like one single, seamless experience for the customer. This image here really tells the story of how much things have changed. We started with just a single channel, think of your local corner store. Then we got multi-channel, where a brand might have a store and a website, but they didn't talk to each other at all. Cross-channels started to build some bridges, letting you do things like buy online and pick up in the store. But the holy grail, the end goal, is omnichannel, where you, the customer, are at the very center of a totally integrated system. And this table just breaks down those differences so clearly. Just look at the integration row. Multi-channel is totally siloed, cross-channel starts to get them coordinated, but omnichannel, that's fully integrated. And what's the result? Well, look at the next row. You get a seamless, consistent customer experience, and it's all powered by sharing data across every single touchpoint. And this is what that cohesive system actually looks like. I know the diagram might seem like a crazy spider web, but the idea is actually pretty simple. It just means that whether you're browsing on Instagram, you're walking into a store, or you're using the mobile app, your experience with that brand feels exactly the same. It's all connected. The data from one place helps make the experience in the other places even better. So where is all this headed? Well, let's look to the future. And it's probably no surprise that the future of distribution is being completely reshaped by technology. It's making our supply chains smarter, way faster, and more transparent than anyone ever thought possible. We're talking about some serious game changers here. You've got the Internet of Things, or IoT, which lets companies put sensors on things to track them in real time. You've got big data, which lets them predict what we're going to buy with scary accuracy. And then there's blockchain, which creates this unchangeable public record of a product's journey, which is huge for building trust with customers. Okay, so to bring all this theory back down to earth, let's talk about a company that is just a fantastic example of this in the real world. The Dutch chocolate company Tony's Chocolonely. Their whole mission is built around creating a 100% fair and transparent supply chain. So here's a simplified look at their process. They start by working directly with farming cooperatives in West Africa. They handle the transport and manufacturing. And then they use traditional partners, wholesalers and retailers, to get their chocolate bars out to the world. But it's how they track this journey that makes them so special. And this is the secret sauce. They use technology, including blockchain, to create total bean-to-bar transparency. This means that anyone, including you, can trace the journey of their chocolate and verify their huge claim that it's 100% slave-free. It's an incredible blend of doing good and using really smart tech. So, this all leaves us with a pretty big question. Now that we understand how companies' distribution choices can affect everything from how fast we get something to whether it was made ethically, how much should that hidden P actually influence our decisions when we go to buy something? It's definitely something to think about next time you're shopping. Thanks for tuning in.